Mikey. How's it going, my fellow Homo sapiens? This is your boy YuGiOh, and today I'm coming at you with just a basic random Yu-Gi-Oh story. I think that everyone who has played Yu-Gi-Oh has had some type of incredible story or some crazy messed up story. Maybe someone cheated you, maybe you accidentally cheated someone else, or maybe you just went all out and just cheated someone else, or you know, maybe you made a really bad play, or maybe it was just a good match overall and you're like, you know what, I just want to share it. So up to lately, I've just been thinking about some very old Yu-Gi-Oh matches that I had, and one of particular I really wanted to kind of talk about. So a few years ago, roughly around about 4 to 5 years. See, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a very long time. If you don't know about my Yu-Gi-Oh past, I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a very long time. I quit a few times, but I started back up, quit again, started back up. But I was a scrub. I sucked when it came down to Yu-Gi-Oh. And I'm not talking about like entering in tournaments and just kind of like getting one win suck, like just never actually winning. I always played like really bad decks. I made bad decisions, and I didn't really know a lot of rulings. I couldn't rule Shark, and I really didn't know anything. I mean, I knew the things like draw phase, battle phase, and end phase, but I didn't know all the in-betweens, like damage count and damage step and the decoration of attack. I didn't know all those. And, you know, the end of your end phase or the end of the turn, the difference between those. So I really kind of sucked. So this time in Yu-Gi-Oh, I think it was roughly around the time Tour Guide was going up in price. It was just shooting up in price. I think Dark Worlds was one of the big decks at that time, or it was a structured deck of that time. There we go. So the structured deck had came out. Dark Worlds was doing okay, and Tour Guide had came out a little earlier, but the price of Tour Guide was just shooting up. At this point moment, Tour Guide was like 100, 150 bucks. So I entered into the tournament. I had no Tour Guides. I was playing the structured deck, Dark World deck. And this, usually I don't do tournaments at this time. Like, this was just a rare instance where I had $5 and I was like, you know what? I feel confident right now. I'm entering the tournament. So at this time in my locals, we had teams. A lot of people had teams. I never did teams. So a lot of team members shared each other's cards. So like one team member would have like all the top tier cards, and he would just share it between his team, and their team would usually always win. So I was facing against this one guy. It was a pretty big tournament. We had a referee and everything, or a judge, however you want to call it. So I was going against this one guy, and I actually had everything. I just had all the answers. The dude couldn't do anything. Now, the guy, I don't know if y'all understand like what Orichalcos cards is. So let me kind of specify what an Orichalcos card is. An Orichalcos card is basically alternate art for a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I really don't have a problem with people playing Orichalcos card as long as you have the original card behind it. So I had to kind of specify that before I go into the story. So I'm playing this guy. I pretty much got game, and the guy, he pulls out a Baronic, and it's an Orichalcos Baronic. So I'm like, okay, I don't have it. I don't have a problem with it really. I have the answers for it, but I just want to make sure he had the original card. So I say, you know, I don't mind you playing an Orichalcos card. Can I see the original card? So the guy didn't have the original card in his deck box, and that to me personally is an issue. It's a serious problem. So Brianna is pretty powerful, but once again, I still had answers. I think I had something like a bottomless hole and a warning or something down. I had answers for it, but I just wanted to make sure he had the card. He didn't have it. So I called the ref. The ref came over, and the dude was like, the ref said it was okay. I'm like, what? Hold on one second. So I called the ref over. The ref comes over, and he was like, what's the matter? I'm like, well, he has an Orichalcos card, and he doesn't have the real card. He was like, it's cool. And at that point moment, I got really upset, because I'm like, whoa, hold on. He don't have an expensive card in his deck box, but you allow him to use a proxy. Because at that moment, when you do not have the original card, that's a proxy. You see what I'm saying? Like, no, you cannot use this. So I'm getting really upset, because I'm like, hold on. If you allow him to use this, then I should be able to come out with 3 Orichalcos Tour Guides, for crying out loud. Like that shit would have been a debate. So the dude was like, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh, so he can play with fake cards, but I can't. He was like, well, that's my ruling. So at that point moment, I got frustrated. For the simple reason, it's like, you're supposed to be the ref. You can't allow people to play fake cards. Like I said, if he had the real card in this deck box, it would have been an issue. I'd be like, cool, alternate art. But since he didn't have the real card, I couldn't let him play the proxy, even though I had the answers for it. Because if this is going to happen with him, that means all the other buddies of the referee might have these orichalcos cards or these proxies that they're getting ready to fuck. I mean, they're getting ready to line up and circle up on me, for crying out loud. Like, if I beat this dude, the next guy I go against, he might have some orichalcos cards, and it's going to be okay because the ref said it was cool, because he's cool with the ref. So at this point, I got really, really mad. I'm like, oh no, I'm just not going to accept this ruling. You cannot allow someone to use a fake card. So I called the owner over. The owner came over, and he did a little bit of investigation. He looked at the orichalcos card. He was like, do you have a real card? He was like, no, I'll let someone else use it. So the guy who's dueling behind me, he comes up and he was like, oh yeah, here's his Brianna. I had it in my deck box. I was using it for my while I'm facing off against the tournament, and he attempted to give it to him. And I'm like, whoa, no, you can't do that, because you are using that Brianna. He doesn't have it in his deck box. You are playing that Brianna in a whole nother deck against someone else. You cannot bring that Brianna out of your deck box and give it to him. You know, it's like, come on now, people. I understand I got teams, but you can't cheat. So the owner of the shop was like, no, you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have a real Brianna. If you don't have a Brianna, therefore, you can't play it. So at the end of the day, I won. I already had the answers. I was like, he scooped it up. I was like, dude, I already had the answers. Here we go. So a lot of people was like, oh, man, you rule sharked this kid. Oh, man, you rule sharked him to win. I'm like, no, y'all trying to share cards and you only have one card. Like, that would be crazy. Just think about going to ARG or YCS and someone has like one card, but everyone else have proxies. And it's like, oh yeah, 1 second, let me run to my friend, pull it out of his graveyard so I can use it real quick so you know I have a real card. No, you cannot do that. So after the tournament, even though he was my only win, I'll admit he was my only win in the tournament. After the tournament, the ref comes to me and he goes, dude, when I tell you a ruling and I say it's okay, that means it's okay. You can't go over my head and report to the owner when I have already made a ruling. Next time, I'm just give you a game loss. And I'm like, really? Like, really? Now, this was years ago. But I'm still thinking to myself, like, I was just sitting back today and I was just kind of thinking about some YuGiOh. Like, man, I feel like playing some YuGiOh. I was just thinking about some old stories. I'm like, wow. I can't believe a ref really was going to give me game loss because I reported him to the owner because he allowed his friends to use an orichalcos proxy card against someone in a tournament. And you know what? That was just a crazy time. So I want to have anyone else had any crazy moments like this in their tournament. Had they ever faced off against someone where they was using a proxy and a owner or the judge themselves was like, it's okay, it's okay. So let me know in the comment box below. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Matane.